Good night. We are group number 3, and my name is Crystal. She is Vanessa, Nicolas, Pablo, and Pedro. We are going to talk about our video, and it talks about the problem of one single story. It was really interesting because it talks about what happened when we only know one part of a group population, and we don't know the important stuff, like for example in this case Africa. This video was made by a girl that was from Nigeria, and they talk a lot about what we think about African people, and we only know the things that they are poor people. They have problems with the food, and we think that almost all the people that live there, they are like with hunger, right, and with problems of nutrition and all that stuff. But the reality it's that we don't know that also there, from Africa, there are successful people, and they put a lot of examples of people that are doctors, people that are writers, some people that study laws and became famous. But why does the newspapers and all that stuff make only emphasize on the bad things? Like for example, like I said the problems with hunger, and I like very much the part that they put an example that when she was studying, she met his roommate, and she only asked her what about his music, like his Asian music, what about their customs, what about their language, like if she was like a stranger, or like if she doesn't know the what happened in the real world, right? So I think that it's really important for us to know the bad things, but also we have to make a balance. We emphasize also the good things that happen in, like in this case, in Africa. So now we are going to develop this topic. This was just a brief introduction of what does the video talk about, and I and my friends will talk about what we thought about this topic.
The principal problem about this situation, that is just telling one single story, is that it becomes like an stereotype. And sometimes it is true, but it doesn't show the complete story of the people. For example, in United States, the principal immigrants are Mexicans. However, they are not like all the immigrants. But when someone in United States asks for immigrants, the main idea that comes into their minds is that all are Mexicans. This kind of stereotype is principally created by all the information that people have, and how this information influence principally when they are children. The girl that was giving the speech, she told a story about a boy that was working with them and the family. His name was Fidis. Her mom told her that Fidis was a poor guy. So once the family invited them to eat dinner, and then she realized how he had in mind that how a poor guy could buy food for all the family, and even to invite them to eat. then that was the moment when she realized that she thought that he was poor because his mom always told her that they were poor, and this was this kind of idea that that she was trying to eliminate when he created that book. Now my friend Vanessa is going to talk about more.
Well, I'm gonna talk about not focusing on the part where how does this only story affect us, not only the United States but also our countries. Well, first of all, this problem of the one only story affect every country, because if we ask anybody about the situation or what they think about Africa, they will always say that there is hunger, that there is no job, that many countries make and organizations make like some programs in order to help these people because they are in need. And this stereotype that everybody have of Africa, maybe only because of the publicity that many different countries gave to this single part of the world. And in the case of, for example, my country, that is Panama, when someone asks about some characteristic that is about Panama, is like there will always say the Panama Canal, and it's like the most important thing, and they think that there is nothing more than the Panama Canal. And that is not just the only thing that we can find in, for example, my country, and that's a reality that once when we go to the United States, they think that everything is water, but the only part that exists is the Panama Canal. So I think that the medium of communications are some like have the guilt in part for this situation, and we need to ask not only about what we know or what people around us tell us, but we also have to find or look for more information in order to find the real truth and to know how the things are really, because it can be sometimes not just all the story, because we can be just seeing a part of it. So I think that that's something important to focus in this video. Well, now my friend Paulo is gonna talk a bit about his perspective about this topic.
Well, I think that the most important part about this girl said is that everything of this have to have something in common with the power. They give us the example of the government, the media that just show what they want so they can help Africa like if it was only one country. So they give us the example that she was in a flight from Europe to Lagos, Nigeria, and in the announcement says that if you want to donate some money for India, Africa, and other countries, then they referred like Africa was just one country. So we stereotype the African people with they give us this exactly example from the Congo, the fights, the rebels, and things like that. But it is done true. And they say that the Nigerian people are they like to read, they like to give some, so they give us a lot of examples about friends of this girl that are entrepreneur with new things, like, for example, a new library, or they want to be doctors, and they say that for a friend of her dies in a flight, and the firefighters don't have enough water to turn down the fire. So that's a real big problem, but she's not ashamed of his country because they they say that the Nigerian people are very strong because besides the government is really bad, they still on fit fighting with all the problems of the nutrition, the lack of food and things like that. And so that's why they talk about this, because they don't want that African people be a stereotype with only one side of a story. Now my friend Pedro is going to give up the solution about this problem.
Well, first thing we have to know that all the histories that we actually know about the African people are histories like 50 or 20 years ago, or even that she said about the case of John Locke, that say that there were people with no head, and this is a guy that was living many years ago. Other thing that we have to actually realize is that all the countries have similar situations in different stages of the problem, and all the countries are growing every day. So those issues are or even getting worse or getting even smaller than we actually think that they are. And another thing is that people actually really pay a lot of attention to the non-profit organizations, and they are always focused on helping people that are suffering and that they are dying. And they, in this way, the American people and all around the countries are getting this kind of information, but we have to realize that this is not the situation of all Africa. There is many faces that we actually don't know and doesn't appear, and that is one of the things that is one of the solutions that we have to do to solve this problem. We have to erase the things that we think that we know about those places. Then we have to search and look for trustable information before judging which is the cases or the stages that people actually are living on. And another solution will be publish the news from those countries in other countries, because the other countries only publish in, like, for example, in America they only publish the murders that are happening in the Congo and something like that, but they don't publish that the studies, all the things that they are developing, even if they are not developing too much things, but they are actually progressing. They are not just like ignorant people. They of course there are many cultures and many different lifestyles, and that's why we have to know that all the news are not always completely true. And now my friend Crystal is going to give us the conclusions.
Well, I think that all of us give our point of view, and I think that the most important thing that we have to highlight here is that, like we saw in different presentations, this is a problem of the equality with many populations. So as we see, there are many people that are making important things for our world, but we only emphasize the things that the American people do, and also the things that, but we don't care about the things that other countries make. They are also important because they emphasize the things that they made, but we don't emphasize the where are from these persons, the persons who develop these things. So I think that we have to take account some of all the solutions that Pedro says, and also to saw the point of view that each of my friends told, in order to create different world and considerate the important things of all the persons. So that was our discussion. Goodbye.